Heroes of Humility, 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 humility. This is not a charade. This is real. These words you are about to hear are coming from real humans on a mission to save the human race from itself. Buckle up while these delusional heroes of humility, aka hoes, attempt to right the wrongs in everyday human behavior.
Do it.
No, it's
Welcome back to Heroes of Humility. This is a show about social and behavioral oddities, things that people do that we like to laugh at, or maybe we'll have some truths, observations. The show is starting to evolve just because of some of the following, and we appreciate those listeners tuning in to hear what we have to say. Our goal is just to make each other laugh, and we were doing that before we did the podcast, so we wanted to share that with others.
Yeah, and there was about a good hour's worth of prep work before we started recording today, so I just wanted to throw
Well, some
that. So
people
hopefully,
were preparing, other people were kind of just sitting in
Right.
But that's all right. No, that's good. That's a good point. That people should know the work and the effort that goes in just to bringing we don't have commercials. We haven't really actively monetized or try to seek promotional support, but we like to, like I said, we just think maybe we are spreading some joy. Is that delusional to think that maybe we're making people happy? That's to me kind of the motivation.
I mean,
too.
that's the hope. I don't know if we're effective in that, but hopefully that's the goal of the show, I guess.
Yeah, we used to have lunch. We all did, still do. Some of us, we won't get into all the details. A difficult job, I guess, is all I'll say. And at lunch was one of the best times of the day because it just brought us reprieve.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, how many people are listening and jobs are stressful and stuff, and we all probably look to that time that we can hang out with our buddies and just forget about crap for a little while. I won't say the S word. I was tempted to say the S word there, but I know I'll get deleted on that.
We don't censor ourselves too much, but, I mean, maybe there's some people
Canceled.
that can't listen because their mom tells them, hey, those guys say bad words.
Oh, man.
So
That's only
I don't
your
know.
mom.
Yeah, that's just my mom. Well, my mom raised me in a house of virtue. Try not to
I'm not
drop
sure if my mom
F-bombs
listens, but,
on a regular. Oh, she doesn't listen. Well, that might open up another series of emotions we don't need to get into.
Wow.
No, you sound like you have a good supportive household, but the important thing is when you come here, this is your family. We love you, man, and we support
We're
you.
your
And
family. Your real family.
Whether you like it.
forget
This is
those
sound
other
like-
guys.
This sound like a cult a little bit, little cultish.
I think
When you
Hose
say
is
stuff
kind of a
like that.
cult. Yeah, I say we embrace the cult.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Just don't try to feed us any applesauce or Kool-Aid here.
I give these guys nutrition when they come here and their bodies aren't used to it. They start to reject it. 11 was hungry this morning and I said, dude, I could make you some oat bran. We got some
Chia
stuff in the
seeds.
fridge, coconuts. I could bang open a coconut, pour some chicken broth inside of it and you can drink out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
The next thing I saw was Dust as he got in his
Pierce
Bronco
offered
and drove away.
Pierce offered to go outside and cut some vegetation down and maybe put it in a pot and stew it up
There you go.
for 11.
He's trying to give me laxatives, but then not let me use the bathroom
Yeah.
to evacuate.
If you have to take a number 2 here, we have to go down the road to the gas station. That's
Yeah.
a new rule.
There's a fancy gas station down the road. They have a clean restroom. If it was an emergency, it'd be okay. Number ones are allowed, but
from now on, I'll just say everything's an emergency. I guess that's how I'll play that.
well, now we're not going to believe you. You're going to be like the boy that cried wolf. So,
Well, you'll find out.
yeah. We thought maybe we'd discuss how you try to be gracious with people that maybe aren't. So the topic is that we would discuss how and when you berate or make fun of somebody. And we do it to each other a lot, but there are times, a lot of the stuff we discuss, we literally don't feel like you need to be making fun of people from the time you wake up. But there is a little bit of joy. The idea is that hopefully it introduces the concept that we can all laugh at ourselves.
Well, I think when you're friends with people, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make fun of you if I didn't like you. If I didn't like you, I just wouldn't talk to you. But the fact that we're making fun of each other means that we're boys.
Now, what about the fact that we make fun of people behind their back and they're not here and maybe they aren't well liked? That might be it.
And maybe they
I'm
tried.
prepared to fight.
Right, yeah.
Dude, I started watching this show, and I can't explain for some reason. It's even hard to put my finger on why it brings me so much joy, but it's something called like Love on the Spectrum. It's basically about people that have issues.
Autism, right?
Autism. Yeah, they're autistic. And it's just people that don't understand social cues, or they don't recognize nonverbal behavior. They don't recognize the nuances of communication. And so it makes it hard for them to have relationships and to focus on certain things. But in other ways, they have like superpowers. And one of their superpowers is that they are candid. A lot of them are candid.
Mm-hmm.
There's almost a liberty. It's kind of cool to watch these people just express themselves without any inhibition, but you see how sometimes that makes things hard for them. And when we laugh at things, it's not people that don't necessarily get it. We think that the people that we laugh at, which include ourselves, are people that they do get it, but they're kind of choosing not to, or they haven't caught on. But obviously there's a line, I think. I'd like to think that you can laugh at just about anything, but I think there's certain things you should be reverent about.
Well, and I'll share a little something personal. My son actually has autism, so I'm very familiar with with that. And
interesting. I didn't know that.
With the way behaviorally they are. But my son is so freaking smart. He's 6 years old, but some of the trivia and some of the stuff he knows is insane. I'm like, how do you know that? Like lately he's been talking about dominant and recessive genes. Like, oh,
How old is he?
He's 6.
Wow.
And he's like, oh,
He
you know,
just thinks different.
yeah, he just thinks
different process.
And like everybody that we meet, his teachers and everything, they're like, he is such an amazing kid.
Yeah.
It gives them that uniqueness.
Just makes people smile.
Exactly. And socially, he may be having issues, but he excels in all these other ways. And you grow to accept their social issues, and you love them for even everything that they have that maybe is not quote unquote socially acceptable, or I hate to say normal because that's got such a bad connotation to it, when it's like, oh yeah, it's not normal. And I'm like, well, what the hell's normal? And if something's normal, does that mean it's good?
Yeah, I don't nobody in this room is normal.
Oh, I'm definitely not normal.
But the thing is
Ask
that
my wife.
I just thought it's cool because you can also see that even though these people are struggling, and the show is about them finding the most important thing, I think, which is what's cool when you get this out of watching the show, is that you realize the most important thing that any of us are going to experience in life is human interaction. And that's what these people struggle with because they have
these people.
went to a dark place.
Oh, he
Thanks,
got
11.
you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Thanks.
Let me try to.
Where's that sound effect?
Yeah.
It's,
Tropic thunder.
Well, we do have a new board here with sound effects, so we'll
Yeah.
be bringing some of those in the show here too. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail your thing.
That's all right, man. I can't remember what I was saying. I think the cool part about the show is you get to see people that are experiencing the thing that we all take for granted, that we just get to do, and we laugh at it, we make fun of it. But it's so cool because after you watch the show, you have such a sense of goodwill because you're seeing a gift we all have, that we know how to interact, that we can interact. And these people are finding out how to do that for the first time by finding somebody that might be a love interest. And it's just cool to watch. It's like cool, man.
And let's be honest, nobody's quote unquote completely normal. We all have our. Thank you.
I was trying out the sound effects. I was a little late. Sorry, go ahead.
We all have our hang-ups, right? Like you gotta. I think one of the keys to life, you have to laugh at yourself. You cannot be too serious on everything. If you're too serious about everything, things affect you too much. You get too emotional. You got to laugh at yourself and
Stay humble.
your buddies and stuff too.
And you have to be humble in life.
Right.
That's a huge thing.
Yep.
My dad told me if you're going through life getting into disagreements, strife with people, try lightening up and just finding the ability to laugh at yourself. When you can't laugh at yourself, then that's when you get into more of those situations, I think.
Yeah, like when I knocked down one of your helmets, just laugh.
Yeah, that was
that was more
upsetting.
pain.
And I've gotten better about it. There was one you did. Actually, I knocked it over today. So
and I laughed.
That was
at you.
okay.
I think I
okay.
laughed right in your face.
I didn't
when you
knock
did
it
that.
over. There's a lot of vitriol language in the way you just said that.
Right in your
tone-
face.
Yeah,
There's a lot of emphasis.
vitriolic. Yeah, real empathy.
Yeah, emphasis.
Yeah.
Emphases.
Yeah.
Emphasis.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I don't know if you guys have ever seen somebody make a mistake. And a lot of times when I'm out in Costco or wherever I'm at, I don't try to make fun of somebody right then and there. I usually keep it to myself and then we wind up talking about it. But a lot of times when I leave my house, I see people do these things and I'm like, oh man, no.
Dude, I will say I have no problem with hardly anything anybody does as long as it comes from a good place.
Yeah,
if you're being a jerk or
Right,
whatever, then
right.
yeah, I don't like that. But if you make a mistake or you're just oblivious to something, like I just laugh it off, because that's just people. But if you're a jerk, then that's when I have a problem. And I want to
malicious intent.
Yeah. We've talked about this before. Like, I'm generally a nice guy. I go out of my way to be nice to people.
Unless you're at the gym.
Unless you're at the gym and somebody's a jerk. But I do have an instance this past week when somebody was a jerk. And so I was, this week, our trash guy comes up. He picks up the trash at our house on Thursdays. And it's always a struggle to get, I have 4 kids in my house. And for some reason, the only person who ever puts the trash bins out on the curb is me. But I put the trash bins out on the curb, and apparently it's a rule that you're not supposed to park your car too close to the trash bins. So unfortunately this week the trash bins were right in between like 2 cars. Like there was a car on this side and a car on the other side. And the trash guy comes up and I hear him coming down the street and I'm like, okay, I know this is going to be a problem because of where the trash bins are. So I start walking out there to get these trash bins to help him out, right? Because I'm going to move them kind of a little bit more in the street so to make his job easier. He comes out, he gets there, and he comes to our trash bins, and he gets out of his truck, and I'm walking towards him, and I was going to say, like, hey, sorry, man, I'll move those for you, I'll help you out. And he just gets out of his truck, and he puts his arms out like this, like what the heck, kind of like... And I'm
maneuver,
like,
yeah,
like you're a dick maneuver.
Just so people that can't see,
Yeah.
basically put his hands out like he's like his wing, like got
like
wings,
like
he's
wings, like
challenging
kind of
him.
like what the hell?
He just
you
wanted
know?
a hug, dude. He
Right.
just wanted a hug.
Yeah.
And so I came up and I was
Give him
gonna
a
be a
hug?
nice guy, but then I saw that and I'm like, you know what, dude, screw you, And then I told him, I said, you know what, man, do your job.
Oh wow!
I said, just do your job. Like, don't give me a rat. Like, I was going to be nice. But you did that, and now I'm a jerk because I don't like that. Like, that's your... I mean, I know it sucks, whatever, but, like, that's your job at the end of the day is to get the damn trash.
Me, personally, I think, like, is this, like, the 5th time he's dealt with this morning? And they start at, like, 3
On
or
the
4
last
in morning.
block.
So it's, like, almost like you can get a pass on that one and be like, oh, sorry. Said something after that, it'd be like, oh...
It just, for me, that maneuver was enough to kind of set me off.
Yeah,
because
it's
I just wasn't in the
understandable.
mood that morning either. I was kind of in kind of maybe a bad mood to begin with. But when he did that, I'm like, okay, now you're a dick.
I know.
And now
Well,
I'm going to
everyone's
have to.
been there,
Yeah.
yeah.
now
It's
I'm gonna
always
have to say
hard.
something.
Try to take a minute and think about where the other person's coming from because sometimes it's just so insane, and it's like that fine line sometimes.
Well, and you deal with people that, like, I need my trash guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I need him to do his job to pick up my trash.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be too bad, I guess, because maybe next week my trash is the only trash that does get picked up on the street.
Well, but the
I bet you he wouldn't have been an a-hole to Red because he's just like a likable dude. Like, you just look at him.
I'm
you're
not
like,
likable.
Oh.
No, you are. No. But first looking at you, I'd be like, I don't know. This could go either way.
Yeah.
He's being super honest. That's the important thing. And there's a lot of honesty in
It's,
this.
There you go.
it's the bling.
And it's like a
dude.
choose your own adventure. You want to
Yeah.
come out and be a nice guy? I'll be a nice guy. You want to come out and put your
True.
arms up at me and
You want
huff
night-
at me? Then
yeah.
I'm going to be a jerk.
You want
know?
you want nice guy beige, or
Yeah.
do you want like static beige?
Because
you
my
want some static.
my default is nice guy beige.
Yeah,
that's
his
my default.
default.
Was the necklace outside showing already?
Oh,
Or was
always
it
necklace
something-
out, dude. Necklace
Oh,
out.
man.
You got to do that.
Red-
I mean, what's
Maybe
the
that's
point?
what it was.
What's
You
the
know,
point in wearing a necklace?
Did he have a
if
necklace
you
on
hide
too?
It?
Was there like a
Like
bling off?
Like a yeah.
That's what it was. He didn't give the full story. He came out in his Speedos, no shirt
Yeah.
on, and the guy just really wanted a hug.
yeah.
Dude, here's what you do next time. Here's what you do next
What's
time.
up, dude?
Speedo?
What's
and
up
he's
with your
wearing
ass hanging out
slides?
of your Speedo?
See, and that's my problem. Maybe my perception was that was confrontational when really it was like, hey, I just need a hug, bro.
Maybe he perceived you coming out like to be confrontational to him.
You
So
were
that's
coming
why
out
he
hot.
just-
That
Maybe,
could be,
yeah.
but I felt like I had a smile on my face when
Let's
I
see
was
the smile.
like, it's all
Let's see
in
the
the,
smile. No, dude, that wasn't.
Okay,
No,
wait.
it's
that,
like
that was like a
that's like a Joker.
I get to murder someone this morning smile.
True.
I was thinking that something else. Well,
shit.
and Red doesn't. I think they're Eleven identified something that's true here, because Red he's a lot taller than you. So,
Jeez,
sorry.
thanks.
Well,
I know I'm short. Appreciate
it's nothing
it.
to do with the height.
no, there's a point here.
You kind of get that.
No, there's a point here. This is what I think happens, is that Red looks like he could be that guy, but it's disarming because he's just the smallest smile on Red.
Yeah.
He shows you that he's a very easygoing guy.
He's a big teddy
What
bear.
I'm saying is, with great power comes great and he's got he looks like visually daunting or powerful. So when you see him just kind of like be disarming, I think it's very, I don't know, it makes you feel like he's not.
I feel like you're contrasting the way I look to Red. Like you're basically
Well,
calling me a little
11
bitch.
You know what
started
it
the
is.
day with that.
I'm
know what
trying
it
to
is?
get 11. Okay, here's the thing is that people who aren't watching this, I'm trying to explain what I think 11 was seeing when he described you as somebody that seems more
got
ecstatic. And so I'm trying to help you because
I get
and
it.
you're not taking the.
I get it too.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
get the you look intimidating or you look like you're an asshole when
Right.
you guys know me and I'm not like
Yeah.
that at all. And I think it's just years of the line of work, being on the team and military and all that. Like I kind of carry myself to when I was on the job, I was tried to look more intimidating and all that stuff. It just kind of became
that presence. You wanted to have that presence.
Yes, and it just kind of became the way I carried myself. But I'm not mad. I'm not trying to walk around and be. I'm never that douchebag that's walking around like checking shoulders. Never that guy.
But now that you're not on the team and you have to, do you find yourself struggling with that?
Yeah, I still walk that back straight. Arms to the side. I'll clench my fists a lot. That's just the military stuff. I feel
Like you're marching?
sloppy. Yeah. I feel sloppy if I'm not, if I walk any other way, it
Right.
doesn't feel right.
Well, that's the point of the
I'll
military.
just-
I mean, you're a trained weapon, dude.
yeah, and doing that and the team and all that, but in the line of work, you just kind of carry yourself a little different.
What's the difference though? Let's get back to why does Red appear to have more of a, how did you describe it? I don't want to put you in a tough situation, but I'm just trying to say, let's be honest. Obviously Red doesn't have maybe
Red
that same.
just comes off as like a friendly
Yeah.
dude.
And beige?
I don't know what it.
Okay,
I
now
don't
beige.
know why. Maybe just my family from when. Maybe it just reminds me of that or something.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
my take
beige
on that
reminds
was-
me of one of the guys on the team that is. I'm like, oh, you're an asshole.
Dude, you made his
He blew his
headphones
headphones off.
fall off his head. Yeah, he just lost his mind.
Even though beige isn't, I know beige. He's not.
Yeah,
But-
I think my theory is, and I might be wrong, and I'm some fair, but just my observations. I think Red is kind of got an impending size, and so because he is always smiling, and you think, well, this is a guy that he could be very domineering, but he's not.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have to
Yeah.
walk around with that intimidation look
Yeah.
because his size
It's built
speaks
in.
for itself.
Yeah.
So he
Right.
can walk around as
Yeah.
a happy-go-lucky.
So you're saying I have short man syndrome?
I mean, I do it too.
I'm just messing with you.
I was just trying to paint.
But you
shed
have
light
to.
on what
You
I-
have to. Like I'll remember my mom.
I just
before
watched
even
that Napoleon movie. Thought about
Yeah.
it the whole time.
thought about it. I had a sister, and we lived in a neighborhood with a bunch of kids, and it seemed like a lot of the times we'd rally in our front yard because we had a little fence and we'd play soccer or whatnot, so the ball would kind of stay retained and it would have to go like 3 neighbors' houses down. And every once in a while there'd be a little fist fight in the neighborhood, and it's not necessarily that I was involved, but I ended up being involved to like, hey, break it up. I don't want this crap at my house because otherwise I'm going to get in trouble because, my mom's not going to want this going on at my house. So I remember before I could remember, my mom used to tell me that like I would be the referee out there, and I didn't see myself that way. I saw myself, I'm just trying not to get in trouble.
Yeah.
You were their peacekeeper.
Yeah,
dude.
but they looked at you differently.
Well, and I know because I've always been a large person. I just didn't go through one growing spurt. So I was always usually bigger than most of the kids my age.
Yeah.
It's just strange how, because my wife reminds me of that sometimes. Like I told you guys that story about the In-N-Out where the printer ran out of paper and I'm just standing over there just asking the girl like, hey, what's my order number? Just tell me my order numbers. So when you call it out, I know when to come to get my food. And the girl just starts breaking down crying. And I'm like, I thought I was being nice. And my wife goes, well, you don't realize your size. And I said,
Yeah, your
I wasn't
size
being...
speaks.
I mean, there are times I could be intimidating and pissed off. Don't get me wrong, but maybe it is like you're pointing out.
That size
I try to
thing.
be overly friendly, or when somebody asks me, "Hey, how's your day going?" hey, good. Or like when you go out to a restaurant, hey, I'm starving. You got to feed me.
Yeah.
And I just automatically start kind of like making it, oh, this guy's not a prick. I don't know. Maybe it's just an inherent body language thing.
It is. And the thing I've noticed about being tall, people will get intimidated just by the size, but so I usually I'll take a step back away from somebody as I'm speaking to them, because that kind of does like a gesture, like a body language type thing. Like, oh, okay, he's not intimidating. They give them a little bit of room. So, because even if you're not like in their bubble, but you're that big, it feels like you are. And they're like, oh my God, this guy's towering over me. So you take like kind of a friendly step back as you're speaking to them. I don't know if you ever done that or
no, absolutely. When you interview people, sometimes you would rather stay seated than standing up.
Yeah.
Because then there is that.
Yes, that's something you also have to think about. Is your height is an intimidation factor as well. So
if Fred ever interviews anybody, we always get one of those little kindergarten chairs for him. So just to
sit on the floor.
bring him way down.
It's always
there.
less intimidating when somebody's knees are up around their ears. It really opens up
Well, and I want to say
a more friendly exchange at that
because
point.
you guys are talking from a big guy's perspective, right? I've always been a smaller guy,
and you're not really that small. How tall are you? You're like 5'7".
I mean, I'm 5'8",
okay.
which is average
You mean how
size
short are you?
in the Philippines.
in the Philippines.
In the Philippines, that's average male height,
I
right?
think the average male height is 5'9", right?
Yeah.
And
So I'm not like I'm not
in
like
the
somebody
US,
that you look
yeah.
at and you're like, holy crap, that guy's
Probably in America, 5'9" is the average.
Right. But when I was younger, not only was I, fairly short, like I was always the kid in the school photos that was in the front row. I was never standing in the back row like you guys probably
But you got
were.
to be in the limelight
But-
all the time.
But I will say, and
of course,
when I
that's
was
where
growing up,
Pierce goes.
Here we go.
when I was growing up, I was also very skinny too. I graduated from high school and I weighed 120 pounds. And I don't actively think it, but being a smaller person, it's like you do feel like you're not going to take advantage of me. Like you have to have more of that mental, like
it's a
I'm not-
subconscious thing that develops.
right. You're
Interesting.
just not going to get punked,
Yeah.
because people may see you and be like, oh yeah, I can punk this dude, and like, so you have to develop that resilience
And
to
you
be like,
think of-
nah, I'm not the one, dude.
You think of the long-term ramifications of that, like you have to go through that mindset for your whole life. It kind of creates who you are. Bigger guys don't really have to have that. We're trying to do the opposite because we're already like intimidated.
You're already
people, and I
coming
don't
into the
want it.
situation, and people already have that perspective when they see you.
Yeah.
You have to quell.
So
that,
it's like
you know?
you're trying to think of ways to like back off of people. So because like going to bars and stuff, being a big guy, like my whole life. I mean, now it's a little different, but like through my 20s and stuff, always getting challenged by people, always just because of my size. And I'm not walking. I'm just having a good time being loud with
It's
my
like
friends,
when you
but
drive up to a
big
stoplight and
guys-
you have the nicest or this car.
Yeah, and then the guy in the
everybody
minivan wants to
race
race you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I know we just talked about that, but
right.
I have noticed that it does seem where people who are taller, I know this is an overgeneralization, but it does seem like a lot of times they're smiling, whereas a shorter person, a guy, can't be smiling that much.
Yeah.
They got to let people
No,
know,
it's-
hey, I
it's
may not
definitely-
be smiling.
definitely something to think about next time you see like a giant walking through a store. Just kind of observe the
Yeah,
body
see if
language.
they're smiling.
Just observe body language. Like it's really something.
Yeah,
like, it's,
we're on.
No, but
something
I
here.
think it's not strictly to guys, because my wife has a sister who's barely 5 foot, and one of her good family friends is 5 foot tall. And my wife will tell me stories about when they go out or when they used to go out to bars that on the dance floor somebody would accidentally drip some beer or a drink on top of their head on the dance floor because you're moving around. Most of the time the reaction was kind of like, oh, sorry, whatever, because they were short. Where my wife is taller than them, but to me she's still a midget, but she's 5'7".
We're
Little
sorry,
person.
Mrs.
Little person.
Red. Sorry, Mrs. Red. Please continue.
She knows I call her T-Rex arms all the time, but she discriminates
That's
against
a
me
new
when
one.
I'm in there. I always need something on them from the high shelf in the kitchen. But in anyways, like she was saying
Racist,
that
dude.
they like even when they go to a coffee shop, the little friend they were ordering coffee. And you know how sometimes these coffee orders can get complicated. And our shorter friend was telling her order, and what do they call them? Barista or whatever was like kind of standoffish and kind of like annoyed. And our friend immediate response was, hey, look it, you're a little too ugly to be that nasty.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, damn.
Wow.
Like she just, wow, what a response. But she just snapped back, and I was like, wow, is it because she's a smaller person and she keeps getting like people trying to push the envelope with her?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And-
big time.
I will say for women, and it'd be nice to have a woman's perspective because we're 4 dudes doing this show, and maybe if women are listening, if somebody wants to comment, but like women also have the additional thing just by the nature of the sex is that they're like, I'm sticking up for myself. Yeah, I'm a woman, but you're not going to take advantage of me.
Yeah.
And then you combine that with being shorter in stature and everything, and that just amplifies that, you know, because women already, I would imagine, would have to feel like, yeah, I'm not going to be taken advantage of, you know.
Well,
by
I've
this
also,
person.
I think I also see another challenge here in that we are undermining our ability to get along maybe better when we give people titles like barista. Like, I think we're overdoing it with the coffee making person. Do they need, nothing against baristas, and I'm not sure I know what that means. It doesn't sound like an English word. That's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't, I've never, but where, the barista word, if you tell somebody, hey, you're the barista, that's going to go straight to their head. Whatever, dude. It's not an American word. We don't have to say it right. When that word came across our borders, we say it the way we want to here. Now, the point is, dude.
Coffee engineer.
Yeah, the
Coffee engineer.
These titles, like
That's the
the
next one, yeah.
the engineer. We're getting to the euphemisms and the crazy stuff that it goes to their head. It probably went to their head, man. Say, oh, I'm the barista here. Everybody's got to mind my authority. Get out of here.
You're in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Starbucks. This is my
Don't let the
my
barista
dojo.
You're
power
here to
go
buy
to
a
your head, man.
$15 cup of coffee.
And these-
you're in my house.
Well, the other thing is have you ever noticed when you go to a place like that where they memorize what the order is, it's kind of impressive, but then I'm also thinking, if you wrote it down, it wouldn't bother me. Like, I'd feel more comfortable if you just wrote it down. And the fact that they're doing that and they're being called a barista, I think it might be too much. Like, they're shot out of a cannon. They're
Well,
like,
dude, there's Instagram reels about how complicated. I'm not a
it's
coffee
too
drinker,
complicated, yeah.
But they're like guys going through the drive-through, and I believe you me, I've been there. My wife will tell me a coffee order, and I'm like, are you speaking a foreign language? It's just large coffee.
Two pumps of caramel.
half pump.
Yeah, they're showing.
I was with some. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say they're going through the drive-through, and the husband will record the wife saying her order, and he drives up, and then the speaker goes, "Oh, can I help you today?" And the,
my
husband
God,
just puts
that
the
is
speaker
genius,
on the
dude.
That is genius.
I-
Because if you do that, it's like there's no way in hell I got that wrong. So if it's wrong, it is not my fault. There's no way in hell it's my fault.
Because I was with somebody. We went to go get a coffee the other day, and I was like, "What do you want?" And she said this long thing. I was like, "What
the
fuck is that, dude?" And I was like, "You just tell me." She had to like lean over and like say whatever it was, and I was like, "I don't even know what you're getting. Like, I don't know what that is."
now,
Well,
if you do go order and you don't know how to say those words,
there was like
now you look
6
like a
different
punk.
things she
dude.
said.
Well, and I get it if it's like a dietary restriction, right? Like you may customize your order quite a bit if you have dietary restrictions, either allergies or you're on, like I do this low carb diet, which a lot of people are doing. So now I never used to be the guy that says, well, I need this and take this and put this on the side and do I never did that because I don't want to be a pain in the ass. But now
It is like normalized now.
Yeah, but
though.
now it's like, no, I need this and then hold that because I'm not going to eat it. And to me, it's just a waste. You're wasting food. If you get something and you just pick it off and you throw it away, you're just wasting that.
There's
so now,
just a tinge of pretentiousness when you listen to how these orders are made.
yes,
You know? It's
yes.
too fancy,
Right.
dude.
If you're more
Yeah.
complicated, you're more sophisticated.
Yeah.
right?
Like that Paul Rudd line in that movie where he's like going off about the sizes.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
right.
dude.
yeah, like a
can't get a
venti. Like I'm
small,
not saying
yeah.
venti. It's a large.
Yeah, he's like
You
a
know?
large.
Yeah.
They're like venti. He's like, no, I want a large.
Or how about-
And he goes over all of them. He's like, congratulations, you're stupid in two languages.
I will refuse. We have an ice cream place here, Cold Stone Creamery, right?
Yeah.
Sorry to put Cold Stone Creamery on blast right now, but
Do it, dude.
their size is like it, love it, gotta have it. There is no way in hell I'm gonna tell the person I'll take a gotta have it. You know, like no,
I could barely
give me
go
a
up
break.
and go get a venti. Like I'm like, just give me a large one, and they don't argue anymore. They're just like, okay, dude,
yeah, all right,
he's
yeah.
not about it. Black
been,
coffee for this guy.
Right.
I haven't been to IHOP in a long time, but it doesn't feel like your cred is being assisted when you have to order like a fresh and fruity Rudy Tooty.
Rudy
Oh
Tooty
my
fresh and
God.
fruity.
And I saw that and I said, I'd like to try that, but
That's
I'm
when you
looking-
just point. You just point to the menu. I'll take
Yeah,
that right there.
So like, no, I'll take the Grand Slam.
Yeah, I'll take the pancakes with the fruit on them.
Yeah.
I'll take a Grand Slam with fruit.
So you'd like the Rudy
You mean
Tooty
the
fresh and
Rudy
fruity?
Stop trying to change me. Just let me come into your business and do what I want and say the words I want. Do I have to speak like you just to get my coffee or my bread
I'm not
with
Rudy
fruit on it?
or Tootie.
Yeah.
But I do give those people grace because my first job was at a Cinnabon. And you take a 16-year-old kid who's
I was hoping
like,
you were going to say hot dog on a stick.
no.
He looks like a stick
With
guy.
the little hat?
With the little
Is that a
hat.
short joke?
No.
So, yeah, when I was 16, most 16-year-old kids probably a little awkward, a little anxious, unsure
Quick
of themselves.
question.
Yeah.
Did you eat those things until you were sick?
Oh hell yeah!
I knew it.
And
I would do it.
And they won't let you sell. They won't let you sell the ones that are like 2 days old.
Yeah.
So
You're 16, dude.
well,
mine.
they wanted you to throw them away.
Yeah.
So you'd be just throwing away tons of food. I'm like, hell no, I'm taking these home
Start
to the
throwing
family,
them in your
dude.
backpack?
Yeah, because they'd let you take them. What? I'm just going to throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
waste.
You have these kids, 16 years old. You're feeling anxious or unsure. You just kind of feel awkward, and you're making these Cinnabons, and it's all there in the open, and you literally would have people just like staring at you as you're making, and you just feel it awkward as when you're doing that, So it's all people like if you work in an ice cream place, it's just like you're the center of attention while
Yes.
people are just staring at
Yeah.
you. So
on
It feels like
stage.
you're being
Yeah.
judged, which
You're-
isn't.
Plus, you're
which,
behind a glass
as a 16-year-old kid, it's like it's pretty tough because you're
even
like
at
everybody.
42, it's like
So-
it's a natural feeling. It's
So-
like a defense mechanism.
So I give those people grace, and I do think everybody in this world should have to do a job like that at some point in time.
Yeah.
Because you need to get other people's perspective. There's a difference between sympathy and empathy.
Yeah.
If you've done
You're
something
right.
like that,
Wow.
you
You're right.
know.
No, yeah, it's beneficial.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
beneficial, and you probably wouldn't act a certain way.
Yeah. And the same.
Wait, what? That earned
I was trying to. I'm trying to do the applause, dude. I pushed the wrong button. We still don't know what we're doing
Imagine
here.
that.
I was
Sorry.
like,
Hey, say it again. Say it again. Let me try again. Just say the end of it.
Okay, let him get practice.
No, I said everybody should have to do a job like that so they have a different perspective and they can empathize with these people.
now pause.
Okay. There you go.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back with Beige's show right after these messages from our sponsors. Okay, go ahead, son.
No, but I mean that just gave me a different perspective. And honestly, those people that are working there probably they hate the fact that they call it a Rudy Tooty fresh and fruity
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Or they hate that it's a gotta love it or a venti. They're like,
Yeah.
this is stupid.
That's a silly marketing thing.
Yeah.
I think that worked way back in the day, but working in front of everybody feels like you're being judged. But the same goes for like public speaking and stuff. That's why they try to get you to get up in front of class when you're in high school and all that.
It's a good skill to have, man.
It is, and I feel like if you kind of put yourself in that mindset and go do it, it's really beneficial for the rest of your life. And I know a lot of people have like social anxiety and all that stuff, but I feel like it does help you get past a lot of that stuff. Because when I was younger, I hated all that, and it took being in the job and then being an instructor and I have to get up and then teach now in front of a bunch of people. And I've taught classes there was like 100 people. And they're all just lasered in on you. And I'm like, man, I'm going to be up here for like 3 hours.
But honestly, it gets easier. It does get easier with practice.
It does. And the more I did it, now I'm super comfortable being in front of big crowds, talking and like teaching, especially.
Right.
But I wasn't always like that. It took a lot of doing it to kind of like break that barrier.
Do you think
which
it's practice or age? I always wondered that in my brain.
I think it's practice.
Okay.
I definitely think it's practice.
Well, and I will tell you one thing that I still think of to this day, because we all have these instances in our life that something happened and you still think of that crap like 30 years, like
Oh, yeah.
an embarrassing moment or
Yeah.
something, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, we all have
I
those.
remember when I was in school, I had to present on like some book or something like that to the class in high school, and I tried to make a joke and it just
Bombed. I've done that, dude.
It bombed, and I was like, okay, I'm done trying to be funny.
Yeah.
If I'm funny inadvertently, cool, you know. But I'm I'm done trying to be, because if it bombs, it is humiliating, dude.
Yeah, I've done it in front of big classes before. I'll say like a little joke, and they all just it's
Crickets.
Like crickets.
You know,
It's
what?
like usually one of the instructors will laugh, but they're laughing because it bombed so bad, and
Yeah.
I'll be like, "This guy gets it."
feels good, man. And it feels good to maybe look out, make eye contact with that guy, and you guys just exchange. Yeah, you know.
But I mean, dude, I'm in
with age now, I love jokes that bomb. Like if people are like, "Ugh," I'm like, maybe that's a dad joke thing with age. Like that's like I tell a terrible joke and they're like, "Ugh, yes, it's me laughing. That's all I care about."
Well,
I
I
had to
guess
take-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Red. I wrote this down. My new technique is to try to write a word so that I don't interrupt somebody and then look at it later. It's kind of I'm going to see how it goes in the podcast. So when I was in college, I had to take a course. I think it's at least not as embarrassing. I'm sure it takes still a little bit of courage, whatever, to admit that, yeah, I don't like getting in front of people. What about when your embarrassing thing is that you do like to get in front of people and you should have some shame and you don't? And this is the problem I've had since I was a little kid and they put me in front of the jukebox in my grandmother's restaurant. It went to, dude. And so I had to take this course in college, and there was this girl I sat next to, and she was just so sweet. She came from this little tiny town, and she would write down her speech. She had to write it all down and memorize it. And then she would try to say it, and I would see her, and she would breathe. She would have difficulty breathing. She was so nervous, and I felt so bad for her. I thought, I love this class. Every time it's my turn, I'm like having a blast because I'm making somebody, even if it's like one or two people, laugh. So I did this. I went to a 10. I did my speech, and I took it up like way past.
No way.
Yeah.
You're doing like a whole carrot top, like
I can't even imagine you at a 10 right now.
Well, so I did this thing. Can you recall? Now, I know I'm going to catch some static for this. The Pleasure Principle video that Janet Jackson did, and yes, this was in the 80s, where she does a dance, and I did it in a video you saw once. You took of me once at work, where I jumped on a chair and made it tip forward by pushing on the back.
The hardcore parkour.
Yeah, that's what I used to do in the office. But I went and jumped at the chair. You have to have enough momentum. The chair has to have enough friction on the ground so it doesn't slide. And you just push back on the back seat, and then you make the chair tip, and then you fall gently to the ground. So I saw her do this in a video, and I'm like, I can do that. And I was able to do it. And so I thought, I'm going to do this in my what I'm going to do on the speech in my class is I'm not even going to be in the front of the room. I'm going to be in another room, and I'm going to come running in like at top speed, and I'm going to run at one of the chairs, and I'm going to tip it forward. And then I'm just going to start discussing, I don't know, I can't remember what my topic was. It was just ridiculous, dude.
something completely mundane.
Yeah,
and
it was.
boring.
It had nothing to do with what I was doing. And I thought, if she sees this, maybe it'll help her let go of her, like, she won't be so worried what people think. Because look at this idiot. He's clearly has no concept, right? So I went into the room, dude. I don't even remember. I wanted to watch her face to see her reaction. I think I might have blacked out because my speech got pretty crazy. But, it had something to do with, I think I said, if you prick us, do we not bleed at some point? So I borrowed something. But it was the idea that you only see what's in your own world and you don't look outside of that. Anyway, I won't get into the speech, but I think I may even use metaphors from Superman. I went ballistic, dude. Wow. But I went running into the room, and I just remember everybody. It was fun. I had fun, and I looked at her face, and she like smiled at me, and it looked like she finally kind of just, and it made me feel so good anyway. But dude, that's my problem is that I enjoy, like, I'm too much. Like, I don't mind being in front of people. So it's like,
no, but I think you're more unique in that instance, because I remember being in Psych 101 class, and second girl that went up, she fainted in front of the class. Boom. I mean, like, out cold.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, first off, you can just tell she was nervous getting in front of, Psych 101 is like usually freshman year. So it's like, having to get in front of all these college kids, and bam, just out cold.
Wow.
And so it goes in, everybody's trying to help her out or whatnot, to like, now it makes it so worse because now I'm the chick that is known to pass out in front of everybody. Because I would say, because I when I brought it up earlier, because I think it was just age, but maybe it's just frequency of doing it. I too, like, oh man, I got to go in front of everybody. Damn, this sucks. And I think maybe my brain got too much into it. Like, oh, what are they going to think about it? Blah, 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 blah. And to me, that's why I think, is it an age thing where I'm like, I don't even care. People are people. You're not perfect. Just get up there, do your thing. And if they like it, they like it. If not, well, then on to the next guy, type of thing.
Well, and my question for you guys is, what's worse, you going up there and being embarrassed for yourself, or watching somebody go up there and just bomb and being embarrassed for that person? I hate sitting in
hard to
You
watch.
know what?
That's hard
There's
to
like
watch.
certain
It's
shows that's
cringe,
like hard
right?
for me to. I'm just like, oh my god.
This is an interesting thing that might help
brutal.
people that have trouble getting in front of people. What you just said, so when I was in college, my major was communication, that social and behavioral sciences, not like communications, which is journalism and all that, broadcasting. But anyway, so they said that most people who are watching somebody get up in front of them, they're experiencing it on a very vitriol level because there's an identification thing going on, this empathy. They can see themselves in it because it's such a fear for them. But when you get up in front of people, if you have this issue, remember, everybody's with you, man. They all are rooting for you because they don't want to feel uncomfortable and because they are actually you. They feel like they're you. So if you can kind of remember that, it's kind of like the same idea as picturing everybody, in their birthday suit when you're and the idea of disarming this kind of worry you have over being judged and all that. People are they're not judging you. They're actually experiencing it with you. So they want you to do well. And if that helps you a little bit, know that
my
they
mom
want it.
gave me some good advice when I was younger, and she was in marketing and always speaking to large groups of people. She said, always go up. When you're like doing public speaking, you're supposed to, whatever you're talking about, people look at you as the subject matter expert. She didn't use these words exactly. And that's why that's why they have a hard time public speaking, because they're not confident in everything that they're saying. Even if you don't feel like you know everything about the subject that you're talking about when you're public speaking, you act like it. Act like you are the only person on the planet that knows what you're saying.
Nice.
She's like, and that will help you get through it. And she was right.
Well, see, and Pierce brings up an interesting point, because you take Pierce at 16 and he's doing Janet Jackson moves, and whereas me, I'm literally probably trembling as I get up in front of the class. Like, what causes that? How can people be that different? Is it like a brain thing? Your brain is just different than mine? Or is it like an environmental thing, like you were raised in a different environment than I was,
I think it is like a weird confidence type thing, like self-confidence.
Yeah,
like for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be like a general like self-confidence thing. It could be like on that subject, or because you're afraid to say the wrong thing, or that someone's going to know more, or they're going to ask a question about.
But there's just
that
some
you
people
don't know, and you're just kind of like.
But there's just some people, they get up in front of a crowd and they're like, I'm not nervous at all. I'm fine doing this whole big production, and if I do that big production, I'm like, this is embarrassing. Like I feel like I'm being judged.
Guys like Pierce that can get up and talk in front of people like that are usually guys that like to get out on the dance floor and go buck wild.
That's true.
Buck wild.
I agree.
Pierce.
There's a direct correlation
nasty.
there.
There is.
Yeah. Because when you're like that on the dance floor, again, all the attention's on you.
Yeah.
You're putting all the attention in, and if you're not comfortable with that, you don't want all the attention
So
on you.
is it because of the confidence in the dancing type thing? Like you have some sort of, or is it something else that was wired before that?
Like, I feel Pierce shouldn't be as confident dancing as he is, but he...
Well, what people who want this ability tend to do is they lash out at people who do have it.
There it is.
The vitriol cycle begins in their lives, which is, man, another exciting episode. I'm biased. I was on the show. My name's Pierce. Thanks for supporting us. Heroes of Humility is a show about social and behavioral science. The word science is loosely used there. Let's not be too critical. We'll continue this episode next week, and whenever we have a to be continued, we pick up the very following week. We will be at a car show coming up here on February 24th in Mesa. Come check us out. That will be at the Desert Ridge High School Theater car show, and that'll benefit the kids. More information on that during the next episode, so stay tuned. And in the next episode, we'll pick up with a round of What Would You Do? It's an exciting game we play where everybody kind of puts together an awkward scenario and the other guy has to figure out what they would do in that situation. Then we randomly pick from a hat, and then everybody kind of berates each other, and maybe we learn something in the process. If you want, it would be courtesy. It would be the right thing to do. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We have a website, and follow us. Give us a rating if you want. Thanks for your support. Take care.